Are you looking for a 2K home security camera that is compatible with Apple HomeKit and has free person detection? Then you're in the right place. Hello, I am Wanderer001 and this is my review of the Eufy 2K resolution indoor camera. The camera was provided to me by Eufy for the purposes of doing a detailed and honest review, which is exactly what I'm going to do for you so that you know if this is worth your time. This small camera is feature-packed compared to a lot of the other competitors in this price point, and one in particular that has always come below what its competitors are charging. For starters, you're looking at a fairly basic camera design. You have your camera head here, which is on a ball joint, and you know what? It does what it needs to do. I will say that that does give you a lot of flexibility, as you saw, in how you can position this, including upside down if you wanted to. I will state that some of the ways that you might try and position it, because of that ball joint, as you can see, it's a little top heavy. Granted, you wouldn't be able to do that because of the power plug placement, but just know, even when I placed it, the cord did weigh it down a little bit, made it a little top heavy. Let us concentrate on the front of the camera right now. You have your microphone, your status LED light right here, which will be red if it is actively being looked through the camera itself, or blinking red if a motion trigger event happens. It will also be blue when idling and purple during setup. You have 8 IR lights around the center here, which help to illuminate it up to 32 feet. My one complaint that I cover in the app later is that these cannot be turned off and you cannot force it into night mode. Small gripe, just food for thought. You are looking at a camera lens that has a 105-degree horizontal field of view as well as a 57-degree vertical field of view. The 2K portion of the 2K camera here is that high-resolution video recording. The video recording will only happen with motion-triggered events. If you are just viewing the camera and press record, it won't work. Also, that one caveat with Apple HomeKit, still not yet supported with the 2K. Apple HomeKit is relegated to 1080p. That's not terrible, but just again, food for thought. We're going to flip the camera around to the back here so that we can see the speaker, because this does include two-way audio, and just in case you were wondering, there's also an alarm like this that is very loud and you can set off remotely. You have your syncing button, which is part of the setup process. You have your micro USB power port, and this might be a good time to place this aside for 1 minute to talk about what else you get in the box. So they are nice enough to include a wall wart and 6-foot cable, micro USB to USB. So that is nice. A lot of places don't do that now. You also have a mounting plate, mounting hardware, and just like with their outdoor doorbell that I tested, you have a mounting guide. Coming around to the side of the Eufy, this is a micro SD card slot. That is because you can have onboard storage with the Eufy camera, which is awesome. You can also have up to a 128 gigabyte micro SD card to save all of those 2K clips that you're going to get. And again, I remind you, the 2K clips are only for if it is triggered, whether that's a pet or a person, because of the AI triggering. I do like the fact that they include onboard storage. Now, what happens if somebody steals your card or camera? Well, the data on the card itself is encrypted with AE256 encryption. The SD card is only readable if it's inside the camera. If you take this out and put it into a computer, you're not going to be able to read that. So that is an awesome feature to have. So if they don't have the camera attached to their account, then guess what? They can't read the micro SD card. Things to consider. Those are all pluses in my opinion. Let's flip over the base here so you can see what we're working with. You have 4 little feeties. There is no magnetization on this. You do see the slots for that mounting plate from before, but that is not terrible, all things considered, with what you get with this. So I briefly went over general specification, size, all that fun, happy stuff. Big question with a lot of smart home stuff is how easy it is to set up, because if it's not easy to set up, then it's abandoned. So let's take a look at setup for the Eufy 2K camera. This will be the setup process for the Eufy indoor solo cam C24. So that's your 2K resolution indoor solo cam. To start off, we're going to select add a device. And here we come and we find our device. So in our case, indoor camera. And then it says we plug in our indoor camera. So we're just going to pause for a moment, flip over our camera, take our micro USB cable, focus, micro USB cable right there, which isn't focusing. We'll plug it into the device itself and then power on over there. And then we will wait until we see a LED turn solid blue. So I'll call that more of a purple. Now that's a blue. Okay, so we've got a blue going. Going to select next. So it's going to show a QR code. So obviously we'll do this off camera, and we are going to have to allow it access to our pictures. So we're going to say for this point only this time, so that it can generate a QR code, which the QR code is on the bottom of the product, not generating. So we're just going to quickly come over here and it scans it. After it scans it, we turn the camera around and then depress the sync/setup button on the back here. And we heard a beep, and it knows it heard a beep because it changed that to I heard a beep. So now it wants to access device location. In this case, I'm going to say only while using the app. And then it's connecting to the camera via Bluetooth. And now it wants us to select the network that we're going to put this on. I'm going to select my IoT network and put in my IoT password very quickly.
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network, please wait.
And I don't know if you heard that, but it said connecting to the Wi-Fi network, please wait. Because I have a lapel mic, so I'm not sure if it picked it up or not, but it does talk a little bit. So we'll find out if it connects to the Wi-Fi network. I have a fairly robust Wi-Fi access point, and which should be just underneath me, so hopefully it picks it up fairly easily.
Setup was successful.
Setup was successful. Okay. We're going to select next. We're going to we are able to pick a location. In this case, I'm just going to customize this and call it test, because I'm not entirely sure where I want to put this just yet. And I'm going to select save. So after that, we're going to select next. It says no micro SD card is installed or detected. You can insert a micro SD card, or you can enable cloud storage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my micro SD card and insert it into the camera itself. I like to keep my storage local when possible. So I wasn't fast enough. When I inserted the micro SD card, the screen changed here, and now I have the option to format. So what I'm going to say is format the SD card. Obviously, if you had anything on there originally, it will be deleted. So we're going to say format. And the one I have in here is a 32 gigabyte micro SD card, and that's just for starting off. Again, this is the initial setup process, and it does say that this could take a minute, but it does look like it's done. All right, so there we go. I got a message saying that it was formatted successfully. All right, so once formatted successfully, it'll bring you back, and we can select next, and it keeps spotting motion. So we're just going to swipe that away. So we know it's doing stuff already. It's noticing us. So where do we plan to place this? It's letting us know several different options: on a ceiling, on a wall, on a table. We can skip this if we want to, but I'm just going to say that this is going to be on a shelf or a table. And here it's giving you kind of the optimal placement so that you can kind of get a range, and obviously this is part of the installation process, so you will better figure out where this goes. You can skip or hit next. We're going to hit next, and then it's walking you through mounting guide. So if you were going to mount this, this is the steps that you would need to take. We will select next, and congratulations, your camera was mounted successfully, even though it just kind of sat right there. Once we are done, it brings us here. We can see a snapshot of my very messy pseudo office for filming. As you saw there, not terrible at all for setup. I will admit that the account creation process on the app itself for Eufy was a little, in my opinion, it left a little to be desired. I ended up creating it on my computer and then logging into the Eufy app Not terrible, but speaking of the application, there is a lot of things that the Eufy camera can do, and all of that is controlled through the app. So let's take a look at the application for the Eufy 2K camera. This is the app walkthrough for the Eufy indoor security camera 2K resolution. You'll notice that when you first get to your application, if you have multiple cameras, you will see them both listed here on the front page. My indoor camera is here at the top. So we're going to talk about one over here. You've got the name and then a Wi-Fi signal, which lets you know that it is connected. Moving across the top, you have a bell with a Z, and selecting this will allow you to snooze the device for a predetermined amount of time, meaning it will not do anything, won't record anything, motion capture, things of that nature for that time period. We're going to select back. Here you have a box. If there is a number in this box, that indicates that there is a clip that was taken. In this case, you can see there is a human clip right here. If I were to select that, you can see right there that is a human just standing there. I assure you there is movement, but that human did stand there for quite some time. On the clips page, you can select download, share, donate, which will donate the clip to Eufy in order to better train their AI system, and then you have delete. If you download, it will download it to your mobile device. One of the shortcomings of Eufy's app that I have stated before is that they really don't have an easy way to access those albums or folders. You will have to go through a different application on your phone to find it. Also, the only way to get the full 2K resolution is to download a motion clip. If you view a live video feed and then select record, you will be recording the video feed's resolution, which at a maximum is 1080, not the 2K. Just food for thought. We're going to come back to our homepage here with all of our cameras. And at the top of my test Eufy camera here, there is a sprocket or a cog icon. Clicking on that will bring you into the settings for the particular camera, in this case, the Indoor Cam 2K. At the top, we can change the name simply by clicking that and editing the name. You can select whether the camera is on or off, meaning is it actually recording anything? In this case, it's on. You can turn on or off the status light, so that visible here is the blue light that will flash red when detecting motion. If you want to make it a little more stealthy, you can just turn that off right from here, which is generally how I do it. Auto night vision, again, this is off because when I was preliminarily testing this, I had it facing out through a window. This will keep the automated night vision from switching over. Sadly, Eufy does not have a way to turn off the IR lights and have it switch over to the night vision mode, because night vision mode does not necessarily mean that the IR lights are engaged. There are other manufacturers who have that option. Eufy, I wish you would add this, please. It would be so much better. You have your watermark and timestamp. So here, I have them both on, but you can select what you'd like to have on or off. I like to have them so I know where the video came from. Motion detection, selecting this will allow you to turn on motion detection. You can select an active zone, which will automatically flip it over here. Here in blue, you can kind of see my active zone. I can select to edit my active zone, or I can add an extra one. So you can actually have multiple zones with the indoor camera, which I think is great. The one problem I have with this, and I'll actually show you again by picking up a new zone, I could see the thought process behind this, but if I've got a zone in place and I drag it too close, you see how that's manipulating the shape, shrinking it down to almost nothing. I really wish that there was a little more of a buffer before it did that, because trying to get some shapes that I was trying, I was getting frustrated because I would drag it down too far, drag it over to the right too far, and I would lose what I had worked on. I know what they were trying to do, and I do appreciate it because I think that's a really neat feature, but maybe make it a little less sensitive. After our motion detection, we actually get options for motion detection. Person, pet, or all motion. I will say, for a free service, person and pet detection has been phenomenal. There has not been a time that a pet or person has walked within the range, and I will say there is a specified range of this, and have had it notify me. You can select your sensitivity from lowest to highest. We're gonna go back. Sound detection is something I have turned off because one, it's really meant for, hey, I will notify you if there's a crying baby. Say, crying baby. Or when it detects any sounds. I'm not really concerned about sounds. I'm more concerned about motions. I don't have a little one in the house, so don't need this, but it is a neat feature that I think differentiates it from a lot of the other competitors out there. You have a sensitivity scale from low to high, just like we did with the visualizing, but I'm going to turn that back off so I don't forget. Pet commands. So if you designate a specific area, like you see here, the couch, and select pet command and designate a pet no-go area, if a pet is detected in that area, you can have a response set up, which is either one of the pre-done ones.
Hey, what are you doing there?
Or you get to record your own, which I did.
What are you doing up there? Get down.
Which will allow you to either edit or delete, or you can customize another response. You can have up to 3 responses, which I do appreciate them allowing you to create a custom response in case your pet only responds to your particular voice. Selecting back, that is the end of our pets area. We're going to go back. Continuous recording. This is one of the benefits that the Eufy security camera has, and that is onboard storage. It accepts a micro SD card. Beauty of this is it accepts up to that 126 gigabyte micro SD card. And that is how you get your continuous recording. So in my case, I selected continuous 24/7. You could, if you wanted to, select schedule and then specify a rule as to what days and times it would record to the SD card. I prefer continuous recording so that I can always go back and look at things. Video quality, if we select video quality, you have streaming quality. In this case, I have it set to auto, but you can select force high, force medium, or force low. I have auto, which will switch between the 3 based on bandwidth and other limiting factors. Recording quality, I have this up to 2K. Keep in mind, if you are doing continuous recording, it will eat up more of that bandwidth, especially if you're recording in 2K. If you want to save because you have a smaller SD card, you can do 1080. Either, well, 1080, which is high def. 2K is nice, but remember, it will only display 2K for recordings or clips. Coming back, that was our video quality. Audio settings, you can have the microphone on or off, depending on your local laws. Audio recording, speaker on or off, and then speaker volume. There is a speaker on it, which is actually pretty good for the size of the camera. Notification settings, right now I have it telling me only if it detects a person or a pet. You can have it send you a notification if it detects any motion, if it hears crying or any sound, and then intervals, so how long in between notifications. I have it set to 0. I want to be notified all the time. You also have the option here for content that is sent in the notification. Most effective is it just sends you a text message, only text. I have it on the full effect, which is a text notification, but also has a thumbnail. And then include thumbnail is the one at the bottom, meaning it will take a little longer to get to you, so I went middle of the road. And then app alert motion tones, motion alert. Right now I have it on default, but you can change it to a whole bunch of different sounds. Silent, bell, and that is my default phone notification sound. We're going to select back and come over to storage. Storage, again, that is that SD card that's in there, so we're going to select local storage. You can see clips total and available. So it has used 29 gigabytes of my 30 gigabytes, and it has an availability of 7.8. Again, that is because it was a 32 gigabyte card and I'm recording in 4K. Coming back, they do offer the option for cloud storage. Here you can see they will give you a 14-day free trial, but I want to use this with the included onboard storage. That's primarily why I would get something like this. But you could see for $2.99 a month or $30 a year, you get some basic storage. For $100 or $10 a month, you can get there plus storage. Do you need it? That's up to you to say. Quite frankly, I found the onboard storage to be more than enough. NAS RTSP, well, if you know what you're doing and have a network attached storage device and you want to roll this into there, you could. That is a nice feature to actually have. At the bottom here, we have Wi-Fi connection, again, where it's connected to. Here is my time setting, mounting, so this is going to be mounting directions. share the device if you want to share it with anybody, and about this device. We can also restart and remove this device. We're going to come back all the way to the front because those are just the settings. That's not even getting into the camera and what you could do itself. So let's click on the play button here, which brings us into the live area of the camera application. Again, here's our sprocket. So if we click that, it'll bring us back to the page that we were going through before. This is a live feed, which you can zoom in, and my camera is not doing it justice, but it gets really, really close. You can, if you select this, make it bigger, meaning it will send it over to the side view here. We're gonna select back so that we're here. You can see that we are currently in live view, but we can select playback, which is very good because what this will allow us to do is it's been recording, so you can scrub back through your actual live view. Unlike other applications, if we wanted to, notice how I'm just pinching and that time frame is shrinking. If I go back to yesterday, you'll notice there's some orange markers. These orange markers actually indicate where there is tracked movement, whether that is right there, there's a person, a pet, or whatever. You can find it so much faster because you don't have to scrub. You can see those markers, which make it so much better. You can also see right here that if I wanted to, I could speed this up to 4 times the play speed, which makes going through that even better. You can delete this item or you can record. Remember, if you're watching it, it's not going to record 2K, it will be recording whatever the screen resolution is. We're gonna select back and open this up one more time. Down here in the corner, you can see it's bouncing back and forth, but this is the bit rate going to the camera itself. You have your record button, which will allow you to record exactly what you're seeing. Screenshot, that takes a still image screenshot of what it sees right there. Speak, you can turn that on and do a two-way conversation with the camera and whoever's on the other end. It does have an alarm built in, and selecting this, you get a notification saying that it's gonna sound the alarm for 30 seconds. Select OK. You can hear that kind of through the app, but it's also in the room right next to me. But you can turn that off if you don't want to have that go for the full 30 seconds, which I think my cats will actually appreciate. And there we go, it turned itself off after I triggered it off. And then you have sound. You can turn the sound for the camera on or off. If we drag that up a little further, you have events, which is what we saw right here at the bottom when we first clicked into the box with the number in it. Drag that up again. And then you have auto night vision on or off. You can quick toggle it from here, which is kind of nice that they allow you to do that. Coming back, we've got options here at the bottom too. We were just on the home page. We can select events, which will bring all of our events into one place. We've got security, which will show us there's our home base and our current camera. So notice that it's showing me the other devices that I have. I can click explore, kind of going to show you other things that they have to offer you and what you can pay for them. You know, normally you'll see stuff in here on a discount. Coming back to the main page one more time, you've got your customer support right built into the app up here in the corner. Selecting this, well, that's going to tell you any messages. So that's going to be, again, normally marketing messages. We have an exclamation point right here. Well, here you go. It's trying to get you to sign up for one of their plans. You don't have to, but just know that that's built into their application and actually was rolled out for me on one of their updates that came fairly recently. And then finally, over here in the corner, we've got extra options just for the application itself. Over here on the left-hand side, hamburger button, which will show you the name of the account and bring you into all of the specifics for the account settings. You've got My Devices, showing you all of your devices. Obviously, they can be found in lots of locations. You have Family and Guests, so if you have shared this device if you've shared any devices, you'll be able to find them there. You have your General Settings, which is Device Display Order, so you can rearrange them, which is awesome. Smart Detection, which again, here's the AI, and it's letting you know, hey, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. It does do very well with human detection. I do not have any experience as of yet with it doing facial detection, and I can't tell if that's just because of the particular products I have don't do facial detection. Works with, here it's gonna tell you, Alexa, Google, and HomeKit. This is gonna be one of the few that I've found that is compatible with HomeKit. And then we have app permissions, where it will show you all of the permissions that it needs to have access to. And then screen pop-up, we'll leave that alone for now. Coming back, additional services. Well, if you want to pay for additional services, here's where you can find out information on that. If you are referring people, they have a referral program. They have a community where you can talk to people, and you have help and about. So that was the side menu. One of the big things with having a camera like this is actually the audio that you can get from this, because it is a two-way speaking device. So let's take a look at an audio sample so you get an idea of what you can expect from the speaker on the back. And I'm not going to lie, it's not terrible, especially considering the size of that speaker on the back. So let's take a listen now.
This is a test of the Eufy 2K indoor camera. Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
One thing that I did forget to cover when I was going over the application and setting up the motion zones is the Eufy 2K camera actually gets 2 motion zones, which could be very helpful if you want to target a spot for people detection and then another spot for pet detection. In fact, I will say that pet detection is one of the cooler features that the Eufy 2K camera here offers. I will admit that on smaller, faster moving animals, like the cats I have, it's hit or miss if it triggers, but when it does trigger, you do get to use that specialized response that was shown in the application, which is just another check mark in favor of the Eufy camera. Now, mentioning the talkback feature and having tested triggering it, I will link over there in the corner a separate video of just the raw video files from the Eufy camera, because I want to have them at 2K resolution. I did not want to bog down this video downscaling them. So separate video over there, day shots, night shots, IR shots, everything's over there. I will say the video quality, I was very surprised for what you get for the camera in comparison to some others that I've tested. It holds up very well, if not better in some cases. Something that I always keep in the back of my mind is power usage for any product that I have in my house. I want to know how much power is being used to make my home smarter, because if it uses too much power, then it's not worth the trade-off in a lot of respects. In the case of the Eufy camera here, you are looking at, when it is on idling, recording directly to the micro SD card, 1.4 watts of power. At nighttime, when the IR lights are on and it's in night mode, you are looking at 2.3 watts of power. Again, compared to other cameras out there, that is not terrible in the least. Now, the question you're probably asking yourself is, that sounds like a lot. I can use HomeKit, I can pet notifications, I can tell my pet special things. It also integrates with Google Home and Alexa. How much does something like that cost? Well, you might be surprised. Depending on where you pick up the Eufy 2K camera, you're looking to spend anywhere from $40 to $45, which in my opinion, comparative to other things that are out there, is not bad at all. In fact, when you include the free person detection and free pet detection and the ability to record locally to an encrypted SD card, that price tag is not terrible in any way, shape, or form. And it's because of all of those features that are built into the camera and the free options that you get with it, that the Eufy 2K indoor camera, if you're looking for a cheap 2K resolution home monitoring camera, I highly recommend checking it out. With that being said, I have been Wanderer 001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.